Hello, Pop Consumer Society. It's time for lunch, and let's talk about the weekend expectations. What's going to happen with Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible? Final Reckoning, the Final Reckoning. Mission Impossible has a tough task this weekend, which is to do well at the box office despite Lilo and Stitch. Tom Cruise hasn't had much luck with his Mission Impossible movies. The Reckoning Part 1, when it was still called Part 1, they had this idea of making a Part 1 and Part 2 so one movie would lead into the other, but it didn't work out. The box office for Part 1 wasn't what they expected, and on streaming, Part 1 has already dropped off. Now they're not releasing the second as Part 2 because they're afraid the audience will look at it and say, oh, I didn't see Part 1, I don't want to watch Part 2 because I won't understand anything. It's not really like that. They even do a recap at the beginning of the movie, but now they don't put Part 2 in the Final Reckoning. He hasn't had much luck because in The Reckoning Part 1, it went up against Barbieheimer, Oppenheimer, and Barbie. At the same time, Mission Impossible came in as the ugly duckling, like the middle child, like the third friend, and ended up facing really tough competition. Especially since Nolan's movie, Oppenheimer, got most of the IMAX screens that Tom Cruise also wanted. So Mission Impossible, which is a visually spectacular movie that I always suggest everyone watch in IMAX, didn't have that advantage over the competition and ended up not getting the results the studio expected. Now for this second one, it's going up against Lilo and Stitch, which isn't really direct competition, like it was, for example. Oppenheimer is a movie more for adults, for men, while Lilo and Stitch is a family movie for kids, and its demographic leans more towards women. Tom Cruise is a different story, adult men. But there is competition, especially when it comes to families, because when it's time to go to the movies, the whole family goes together. They'll watch Lilo and Stitch. The dad will lose the vote because the mom and kids will want to watch it. It happens. That's expected, and we have expectations for Mission Impossible. The Final Reckoning to premiere there with $75 to $85 million in the United States, which is a good start. It's a good beginning. 75, 85, the movies that are in first place premiered with 50. So Mission Impossible can have a good box office run, maybe even compete for the top 10. This year, it's not a box office that will indicate a billion. Unless this movie has a huge second wind, which won't happen since we're entering the American summer now, the competition is going to get tougher and tougher. Not to mention that many movies that are in first place are still showing. Minecraft is still showing. Sinners is still showing. Premonition is still showing. They're all still competing for attention, so it's hard for this movie to have that long tail. If it were coming out during a lighter period, we could even expect $75, $80 million. That's okay. It should make over 100 internationally, so add that up and you get an opening of $175 to $200 million. That's great for Tom Cruise. Lilo and Stitch already has a different dynamic. The pre-sales were high, but not the highest Disney has ever had. There are $20 million guaranteed in pre-sales for Lilo and Stitch. Remember, it's a 4-day weekend. It's their Memorial Day when they honor veterans. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that count. And on Sunday, we have a higher box office expectation. That's why Tom Cruise here is at 75, 85. Lilo and Stitch has $20 million guaranteed in pre-sales, which will help its box office. And the expectation for Lilo and Stitch is to make $150 to $160 million in its first weekend in the United States. Around $150, $160 million in the United States, more than Moana 2. And Moana 2 surpassed $1 billion. A start with $150 million is extremely strong. And Leroy State's international appeal is also high because they're expecting around $125 million. In the world, $125 million. With those 150, 160 in the United States, we can estimate a monstrous first weekend of $275 to $280 million for Leroy State. Mission Impossible will struggle to reach $200 million. It will make $170, $180. And Lilo and Stitch are already expected to hit the $300 million mark just in the first weekend. Not even a week, because then there's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which brings in more money, and then the second weekend comes. It's a movie that has all the possible positive expectations. What we're seeing from Lilo and Stitch, especially Stitch as a character, the main attraction at Disney in recent years, it's incredible how this character was brought back because there was no Stitch. It's a movie from 2002. There was no Stitch. There was no Stitch 3 years ago. And out of nowhere, Stitch starts appearing everywhere. And it was very successful because kids are crazy about Stitch, and now the movie has its live action version, which is made directly for this generation. A fast paced movie, a movie that doesn't stop to breathe, an imperative movie that kids will watch once or twice. The movie is short, just over an hour and a half, so you can play it several times. That's the secret to success. Like I've said here since they announced this movie, Disney is printing money with Little Stitch, and if it makes $280 million on the first weekend, a smooth path to aim for the first billion of the year ahead of Minecraft. Minecraft is getting there, but it's not there yet. It's still quite a way off for Minecraft. I don't think it'll make it. It will depend on how long they can keep Minecraft in some theaters. Lilo Stitch will premiere in almost 4,000 theaters, showing the movie 6, 7, 8 times a day. That's a lot of people. The box office will respond for a movie that cost, let's remember, $100 million. It's not Avengers that costs 300. It's Lilo Stitch, a live action where basically all the money was spent on the computer generated imagery character. The rest of the movie doesn't have anything very spectacular. And it cost $100 million. It's going to make 280 already on the first weekend. I'm not even going to say that this movie will pay for itself on the first weekend because this movie has been paid off for a long time just with the merchandising. You can't walk in a mall and see a store for kids or teens products that doesn't have Stitch. You can't go into a department store without seeing Stitch. So the machine is set up. Disney will be able to make 20 more bad live actions with this one, and this live action doesn't even have to be good. The money is already guaranteed. So it's going to be a crazy weekend. It's nice to see this interest in movie theaters, in films. We're really going to need this energy in the coming months so that this year has good box office numbers. Up until now, until the middle of the year, we haven't had the much dreamed of $1 billion hit, but there are some big movies coming up. And we have some important releases in July. We have important releases until the end of the year. Let's see what happens, how this year will be at the box office worldwide. So, I wanted to discuss the expectations for Mission Impossible, Final Reckoning, and Lilo Estate. Will you watch one, the other, or both? Let me know below. I'll pause here, but I'll return soon with more pop culture topics. Options are appearing on the screen for you to click and stay a bit longer. See you later. See you soon. See you in a bit.